Hey guys, my name is Aurelia, and I work at the Estonian Film Institute as an international distribution coordinator. I also write about films, but here I'm representing the institute.
Dobar den. My name is Laura Lamontaite, and I'm the manager of Blonde Animation and Games Festival in Lithuania.
And I'm Anna Zacha. I'm representing Latvian Animation Association and Riga International Film Festival.
I personally helped out with some of the films because Igor knows really well the Estonian animation, as the films have been here also at the festival. But I think that the overall program, it brings out this kind of highlights from the history. We have several films, for example, from Priit Pärn, which still feel really like current right now, and also in current political climate. And we also have some of the highlights from like 2000s, and also I think that the generation that the program brings out the work of different generations, so that's another thing to point out.
Näeb kingasid. Ma kuklas tunnen eluaegset kuuli.
Magade sööd, lehestavad kokku kuivanud.
Kuuli, kui avan suu, mu silmed tõusid.
Ühed silmad.
I would say that for Lithuania this was a pretty unique occasion, especially for more historical films to travel, and it's actually the first time that older films from 83 and 87 traveled to a festival abroad. So we are really grateful for the opportunity at this festival. And there is also a sort of a stronger motivation now to start working with promotion of the older films and maybe even do more research in that direction. But the films are very diverse. Since Lithuania didn't have an animation studio during the Soviet times, we are really very diverse in style. So there is puppet animation. A lot of people are into CG animation that is also very nicely done. Cut out, 2D, I mean. So it's really a full palette of different styles that we are presenting.
In our case, we have curated part of the Latvian program because there has been a boom of feature films from Latvia that were created by Igor. And we suggested historical films divided in generations, starting from the amateurs in Soviet Union and from 60s with our most important authors like Roza Stiebra, and coming up to the collapse of the Soviet Union and development of individual directors, and also the very new generation of author animators and directors from Latvia. So it's diverse in techniques and in genres and in styles. Basically, it's a good overview of what has happened through the history of Latvian animation.
I think that during the Soviet times, definitely the attention was sort of how to sneak past this kind of political censorship. So that was definitely the issue back then, and I think that several animators sort of sold it with this kind of dark irony and hidden messages which are in the films. And I think that nowadays definitely our animation scene is even more diverse than before, as we have a new generation of authors, and we still have a strong traditional animation, this kind of scene, but also there are people who work in completely different ways, so it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, for us I guess it's similar because we share the same history over 50 years. And again, due to the fact that we didn't have an animation studio, so for us this is a really big breakthrough. There were few independent animation works in general, but there was a lot of Lithuanian talent working for studios in Moscow, for instance. So now it's like, we have many producers for a country of 3 million population in animation. That is nearly 20 different producers working in different fields of animation. And of course, then the funding system, which changed dramatically to something that was constantly there. And if you could pass the threshold of, the censorship and content, then you would have your constant salary and your butter on your bread. And now you really have to work on your profile, on the portfolio, and on your project from the very beginning.
Well, I could agree to both of you. We have quite a common history, but one thing that I would say is way more different than in Soviet Union. It's also visible in this focus program of Animateka, and it's the author film. As the technique to create animation became more available and the digital, there are more and more individuals doing it. And if before you had to have a studio, you had to have a crew, and it was almost impossible, except for some amateurs that we have in this program as well, to create an animated film alone. Now we have Gint Zilbalodis, who single-handedly created this hit called Away, a feature film.
Well, the budget is like for this year it was 880,000 for the animation, which is 21% of all the support given to film. So I think that animation is definitely really well represented in that sense. And as there was a speak about the feature films, then Estonia is also doing quite well in that front. We had the Kapten Morten and the Spider Queen. The Lotta franchise is really successful, and now we have this new film, which is still in Estonian cinema. It's called The Old Man Cartoon Movie, and it has already a bit less than 90,000 admissions, and that was actually a project which grew out from YouTube. So I think that that's really similar here with The Way, when we had like one person sort of making the film, and here we have another bunch of new like animators and filmmakers who have done also something in a way similar. So yeah, it's cool to see it.
I don't know the exact numbers of funding. I'm not with a funding institution. But I'd say the opportunities are really amazing in Lithuania. We recently introduced a call for big budget films, because right now there are around either 4 or 5 feature films that are in development in some stage. And the Lithuanian Film Center launched a call for, I think it's 1,500,000 euros for larger budget films, which is usually animation. So it's a nice preparation in advance for bigger projects. Then this year, the tax incentive scheme was also increased to 30%, and animated films are also eligible to apply for that scheme. And we also are one of, or maybe the only country in the Baltics that are funding the TV series of animation, or sorry if I'm wrong.
You're right.
So a lot of opportunities, but more content is needed. Maybe I would summarize it this way.